to the Who Dat Nation. Welcome to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the Week 9 preview of the New Orleans Saints versus the Carolina Panthers. Take 2, our second matchup with the Panthers this season. We all know what took place in our first meetup in the very first game of the season when the Saints demolished the Carolina Panthers. You know, I got to start off with some good with some good karma, because I'm being honest with all of you out there. Thank you all for joining me, even though I know a lot of you in the Who Dat Nation really could care less about the Saints right now because they haven't given us much to care about. But I thank you for joining me and sticking with the squad. I mean, it's hard. These are hard times, but we are still Who Dat through and through. But it's been so long since it's been something exciting to talk about when it comes to the New Orleans Saints. And we got to think all the way back to week 1. Yeah, we won in week 2 as well, but, you know, clear and present danger. We are playing this Carolina Panther team yet again, who we started off the season and it looked like the Saints were going to make some noise. The Saints were going to be something that the league will be talking about for the remainder of the season. Well, part of that is true. The Saints are being talked about, but not in the sense that we thought after that week 2 matchup against the Panthers. Such a contrast, you know, from when we last met. We were optimistic going into that game, you know, start of the season. How are we going to fare? It was already predestined that the Carolina Panthers weren't going to be good this season, so it wasn't a shock that the Saints came in there and won the game. But in the matter that they won, that's what took everybody like, my God. I mean, the Saints put up, 40-something points in that game, and it wasn't even a contest. It was like we were out there with a high school team. Well, I think a high school team would have been more competitive than the Carolina Panthers on that day. But, man, and then you get to week 2 when you played a better team because, you know, after that win, it was like, well, we did that, but that was against Carolina. So it really wasn't believable. But a decent team in the Dallas Cowboys were like, okay, can we do this again? And they did. They actually did. And so all eyes were on the New Orleans Saints. But ever since that, it has been borderline depressing to watch this team play. And we've been on a 6-game losing streak ever since. And really no end in sight, even though the Carolina Panthers are in our crosshairs right now. You know, just to put it out there, I'm not 100% certain the Saints will win this Sunday. I'm being real. At the style of play that they're playing now, at the injuries that have stacked up against the Saints, and, you know, the coaching that is going on that sideline, they are the worst team in football. A lot of people describe the Carolina Panthers as the worst team in football, being as though they only won 1 game, but we're only 1 game better than them. And when we saw this after week 1, it was like, man, there's no way we will be fighting for last place, if that makes any sense, in the NFC South. But we are. The loser of this game will have sole possession of last place in the division. And, man, this is, boy, how the mighty has fallen. That's all I can say. The New Orleans Saints, who are now 2-6, they look to bounce back this week and reverse their fortunes. They reverse this 6-game losing streak and try to get back to some remnants of what we experienced in the first 2 weeks of the season by playing their last road contest until December the 8th. And it feels like it's been forever since the Saints played in the Dome. What was it? The Thursday night game against Denver was the last time we was in the Dome when everybody left at halftime. But I mean, who cares at this point? Because I think, honestly, I don't think a lot of people coming back to that Dome when the Saints do return. no matter what's the outcome of this game. But that's neither here or there. But the Carolina Panthers, they're 1-7 in a division contest that will take place in Carolina at Bank of America Stadium. The Saints will be looking to improve to 3-6, leading into their 3-game homestand and end their division record at 2-2. And this would require a sweep of the Carolina Panthers for the second consecutive season. That will be the first time since 2019 that the Saints have swept the Carolina Panthers, believe it or not. We have never swept them since 2019. And you think about the bad teams in between that time, in between that 5-year period. And I'm talking about bad team from the Carolina Panthers. You can go back to last year. How did we not sweep Carolina? But we didn't. We didn't. And so this will be the first time, if they're able to pull this off this Sunday, since 2019. The Saints continue to get healthier. We're getting a lot of players back this week. We also have a lot of players who popped up on the injury report that weren't here a couple of weeks ago. So you have that to deal with as well. The hope is for a return to a complementary style that this football team started off the season with that 2-0 start. Carolina dropped to 1-6 just this past Sunday when they lost 28-14 against the same Denver Broncos that we played a couple of weeks ago. But I must say this about Carolina. Carolina plays teams pretty tough, even though everybody and their grandmother know that they're the worst team in football, arguably, debatably, but they're one of the worst teams in football, and they still manage to put up a fight every week, week in and week out. I can't say the same about the New Orleans Saints. I can't say the same. There's been a lot of debate on social media and whatnot about the Saints' effort and whether this team has quit on Dennis Allen and whatnot. I will go to my deathbed to say that the 2024 New Orleans Saints, 8 weeks into the season, they quit on Dennis Allen. They quit. Nobody can tell me different. I don't care what Cam Jordan get up there and say. I don't care what Dennis Allen get up there and say. Demario Davis get up there and say, because they all have spoke on this. Of course, they're going to say, no, nobody's quitting. Everybody's putting in 110%. No. No, you're not. The poor tackling, the poor execution, the being out of position on plays and no accountability. There's nothing going on that screams that this team is putting forth their best effort. If you put forth your best effort and you're 2-6, I can live with it. Why? Because they're trying their best. You look at this past Thursday night. The Jets were taking on the Houston Texans. And the Houston Texans are an up-and-coming team that is really taking the AFC by storm. I'm a big fan of that franchise. D'Amico Ryans as the coach, he's doing an excellent job. C.J. Stroud, the quarterback there, is an amazing young quarterback. They have a lot of pieces. They also have some injuries too, but at the same time, they are a well-coached, hard-fought team, physical team. And the Jets, who are 2-6, just like the Saints going into that game, fired their coach a couple of weeks ago. It looks like the team was in disarray. Aaron Rodgers were pouting on the sideline and all this other foolishness, and it looks like all was lost. But they fired their coach. They made a trade for Devontae Adams, who we were in play with, but it didn't work out, which is understandable. I don't see where he can fit in on the team anyway, but that's neither here nor there. They do all this. The first week, which was last week, they lost again. They could have threw in the towel. But I watched that game this past Thursday night with the Jets and the Texans. Jets played hard. They played hard last week. I forgot who they were playing. I think it was the Dolphins. or it could have been somebody I can't remember, but they played hard in that game. They just came up short. Actually, Aaron Rodgers was throwing picks out of the wazoo. I don't know what was his problem, but everybody else was playing hard. This week they played hard, and they played like they were an actual playoff contending team, even though you can pretty much say their season is done at 3-6. You know, in the AFC, that's a tall task. They'll have to win out in order to have a chance at a playoff berth, but they're trying. Whereas the New Orleans Saints, they're not trying. And you look back on the games that the Saints have played, the teams that they have played, you can't tell me that the Los Angeles Chargers are better than the Saints. At best, I'll give them their equal, but they weren't better than the Saints. They won the game, but they weren't trying. I mean, they had the same. If you look at the stats from last week's game against the Chargers, they were identical. They had the same amount of yardage, same. I mean, rushing yardage, passing yardage, yards average per play, and all that. All of it was close to identical. Maybe off by 5 or 10 yards here or there, but they were the same team. And the Saints still couldn't manage to win that game. They still lost by double digits and only can manage 2 field goals in that game. Couldn't get in the end zone. So that's effort, that's coaching, that's everything all around. There was nothing about that game you can take away and say, okay, the Saints can still build on this. No, you can't. Nothing. Defense looked bad, offense looked bad, special teams even looked bad in that game. But yes, it's just been disappointment after disappointment. Saints have found the way to lose all 6 games. They did not lose any of these 6 games the same. That takes skill. I'll give them that. There was effort there. It's effort to lose a game a different way 6 different times in a row. And the Saints managed to pull that off. Going around the NFC South this weekend, the Atlanta Falcons, who are 5-3, they're at the top of the division right now. And just so happened after we play Carolina this week, Atlanta comes to the Dome next week. They will play the Dallas Cowboys, who are 3-4 right now. They played this Sunday. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 4-4, they have to travel to Kansas City to play the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football, just like we had to play them on Monday night. Or do they play in Kansas City? It don't matter. They can play on the moon. Kansas City they're a beast, man. But looking at those 2 games, if we're going to play the optimistic game here, that can put the Saints back in position to do something. Take advantage of this situation, because the Cowboys, yeah, they're kind of up against it right now. They're struggling as well, but Dallas can beat Atlanta. It's possible. Atlanta has not impressed me. I'm sorry, and yeah, part of this is hate, but most of it is the fact. What impressive win has Atlanta pulled off? Tampa, maybe. The 2 times they played Tampa, I'll give them those 2 games. They look good in those 2 games. But you can make the argument that Baker Mayfield looked horrible in both of those games. That's why they won. But they haven't impressed me. When we played them, they didn't impress me. They have not had that signature win yet. Now, they're 5-3. All respect due to them. You know, congratulations to them. I'm wishing and hoping and praying that we can get up there. I wish we were 5-3 right now, but no. Luck just favors them for some strange reason. You know, think back to that Philly game against Atlanta, when Philly just gave them the game. We virtually gave them the game. I mean, it's a lot of things that just did not. It's a lot of things that just went their way. I'll put it that way. So that's a winnable game for Dallas. And if you want to go to Tampa versus the Chiefs, I mean, come on. I mean, Tampa don't have no receivers right now. Baker Mayfield looks like Baker Mayfield from Cleveland. The last year in Cleveland, he looks horrible right now. And the Chiefs are the Chiefs. The Chiefs haven't had a signature win, I would say, just to be fair and balanced here, but same as Atlanta, but the Chiefs go out and win. Chiefs find a way to win. Nothing is given to them. They find a way to win. Um, Unlike what people may say that the refs help them out as well, but whatever. But that's a winnable game for the Chiefs, which could give Tampa a loss. Now, let's say that happens. That means that Atlanta will fall to 5-4. That means Tampa will fall to 4-5. And if the Saints can pull off this victory against I know that sounds crazy, pull off a victory against the Panthers, that means there will be 3-6. One game behind Tampa and 2 games behind Atlanta, with them coming into the dome the following week. So there's a lot into play here. Like I said, if we're going to play the optimistic game, let's play the optimistic game. But none of that means diddly if the Saints don't come out victorious against the Carolina Panthers. Let's go over this injury report. And wouldn't you know it, there's a name on this report, or should I say a lack of a name on this report, that may make some of you happy. No Derek Carr in sight. There's no Derek Carr on this list, which means Derek Carr is returning. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, all your fears are put to bed. Halloween is over. And so now we have got our savior of the franchise. And I say that sarcastically. Even he joked about it at his press conference when the reporters asked him about it. And I give it to Derek Carr. He said, "No, I'm that's not my job. My job is to be the leader. My job is to be the quarterback, and all the PC answers that you can give, rightfully so. Plus, what else he was going to say? Because if he say anything to the contrary and they lose, he's really going to look like an idiot. But whatever. He touched the hem of the garment. Now he is conveniently back against the worst team in football. Unfortunately, not everybody on the Saints team were so lucky. We have 4 members of the Saints team that have been ruled out for Sunday's game. Starting off with Marshawn Lattimore with his hamstring. He has been ruled out. Bud Means, wide receiver, ankle injury, ruled out. Kendre Miller, who was just put in, is ruled out with a hamstring injury. And rookie cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry with a hamstring has been ruled out of Sunday's game. Also on the injury list, questionable, we have cornerback Rico Payton, a wide receiver Cedric Wilson Jr., guard Nick Saliveri, and Sean Lemuyu, guard as well. They are questionable for Sunday's matchup. Doubtful running back Jamal Williams with a groin injury. That's not good, because that means that this is all going to fall on Alvin Kamara. Now, the Saints did bring back Jordan Mims this week, with all of this news with the running back situation. And Jordan Mims was a pretty solid running back, throughout camp and preseason. So he can help, but man, I shouldn't be too upset about the Jamal Williams situation, because they don't use him anyway. I don't know how he hurt his groin. They don't use him. He gets 2 touches a game, and that's a good production from him. 2 carries a game, basically. Yeah, they do not use him. It is ridiculous. But that's your injury report for the New Orleans Saints going into Sunday's matchup against the Carolina Panthers. Let's go over the team leaders. Starting with passing yardage, and the returning Derek Carr is still, after missing 6 weeks of the season, still the leading passer on his team with 989 yards passing and 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Leading rusher is, of course, Alvin Kamara with 505 rushing yards this season with six. Is it six? Yeah, six touchdowns this season. Leading receiver is Chris Olave with 387 yards receiving and only one touchdown, believe it or not. And as far as defense is concerned, our leading tackler on the team is Paulson Adebo with 52 tackles. He's also the leading interception getter with 3. And I guess it's going to stay at that because he's out for the season. So there you have that. Let's go through the league rankings so far through 8 weeks of the season. We know that the Saints are 2-6. The Panthers are 1-7. Scoring average, Saints ranked 16th in the league, 23.5 to the Carolina Panthers, 29th ranked in the league with 15.5. Opponent scoring average, Saints are 25th in the league, allowing 25.8 to Atlanta's dead last. I didn't realize that, but they were dead last at 32, allowing 33.9. Total offense, Saints are 20th in the league in total offense. The Carolina Panthers are 29th. Rushing offense, Saints are 21st. Carolina is 24th. Passing offense, Saints are 19th. The Carolina Panthers are 30th. Total defense, Saints are dead last still. But right ahead of them by a smidge at 31 is the Carolina Panthers. Rushing defense, Saints are 28. Carolina is dead last at 32. Passing defense, Saints are once again 28. Carolina is 25th. The turnover margin, Saints are 11th in the league with a +2. Carolina is 29th in the league with a -6. Going back to my preseason predictions, I had the Saints winning this game against the Carolina Panthers in week 9, and I'm sticking with that. The Saints will come out victorious. My keys to victory this week, Saints need to figure out how to run the ball. And I don't know if it's I don't know if it's fate or being cursed or whatever, but it's weird that our running back situation is the way that it is. And the key to winning this game is running the ball. We have to control this game, control the tempo of this game. And if Derek Carr comes back, you can't ask Derek Carr to come back and throw the ball 40 times. Let's ease him back into this and virtually do what you did the first time you played the Carolina Panthers, because the Derek Carr didn't drop back like that. Derek Carr only took shots when it was there. You set it up with the play action, and you set up the play action with the run. And so you have to run the ball. Carolina defense is just like the Saints defense, not that good. Not that good this year. And so running the ball will be paramount. It's going to be a little difficult on defense, even though Carolina really don't have any quote unquote weapons to be concerned about on the offensive side of the ball. But with 2 corners out and actually three corners out and one that's kind of iffy going into this game, it's going to be a tough one, not to take advantage of that if you're Carolina. And so they're going to test whoever we have out there to replace Lattimore and Kool-Aid and Adebo. So it's all going to fall on Alontae Taylor's shoulders. Can he handle it? Maybe. But that takes away from your blitz packages because they love to blitz. Well, let me take that back. When they do blitz, they use Alontae Taylor. Saints don't blitz. So whatever. I think this is a game Saints can win. This is a game that Saints should win. Even though we look like hot garbage for the past month and a half, we still should come out victorious in this game. With that being said, if the Saints don't win this game, the question will be, moving forward, what are you going to do, Mickey Loomis? What's your move now? That will be a 7-game losing streak. Seven. And if you can't beat Carolina, you can't beat nobody. Let's just be real. And with all due respect to the Carolina Panthers, but let's be real. If you cannot beat Carolina and beat them convincingly now, look, I would take a win right now any way I can get it. I think we all feel that way. But come on. You got to wipe the floor with the Carolina Panthers. You have to take out all your frustrations on the Carolina Panthers. You have to get right in this game. This is the get right game. This is to put things back in order. Put things back the way they used to be, the way they were when we started off the season. I'm not asking the Saints to go out here and win 47-7. I'm not asking them to do that. But what I am asking them to do is look like a team that wants to win. I mean, I'm not asking a lot here. We're not asking a lot here. But we shall see, man. I'm picking us to win, but trust me, I'm not putting a penny towards us. If I was a gambling man, this would be one I would stay away from because I am not 100% confident that the Saints will win. Should they? Yes. Will they? I have no earthly idea. But I would like to know from all of you in the Hudak Nation, what do you think about this game going forward? Do you think the Saints can bounce back? Or do you just think it's another game? Or have you checked out? And I can't blame you for that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to talk myself up to do this show today. I really did. Yeah, I sat down to do this. I got some notes together, sat down to do this, and twice before I actually started recording. And I got up the previous 2 times. I was like, I'm not doing this. And then about an hour go by, I sat back down like, you got to do it. So I started a little while, and it wasn't there. The energy wasn't there for me. So I got up again. I erased everything. I said, nah, not doing it. Then left again, and it hit me. And I don't know. It was like a voice in my head was like, this is your team. You love your team. Even though your team sometimes act like they don't love you. This is your team. Go ahead, do the show. So here I am. I did the show. I had to talk myself up to do it. It's hard, man. This is hard. This is a hard season. This is probably one of the hardest seasons to watch in a long time in the Who Dat Nation. This is hard. And I think it's their own fault. Well, I know it's their own fault for a number of reasons. Number one, the way you started off the year. You started off the year on fire. Like you was the greatest team to ever touch the field. You was the greatest show on earth 2.0. You know, I'm like, man, this is going to be an exciting year. And then it just went down here. How can you look like the best team in the league to the worst team in the league in a matter of a month and a half? I never seen anything like this. But anyways, I went on that little tangent there. But I asked the question, what do you think about this game? Let's not worry about what happened in the past. Let's worry about this game. What do you think is going to be the end result? If I can talk, it's going to be the end result of this game. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for this show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and share this video if you don't mind. Also, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol Podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this preview of the Week 9 matchup between the New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers. Don't forget to join me after the game as we celebrate a Saints victory, hopefully and prayerfully. I want you all to enjoy the game. I hope everybody enjoyed their Halloween. And at the time of this recording, it's All Saints Day. And you know what that means? It is the 58th anniversary of the New Orleans Saints becoming an NFL franchise. It's the Saints' birthday today. So maybe that will inspire them to win. Who knows? We'll see. But I'm excited. I'm excited going forward because you know why? It's you know, another week means we're a week closer to ending this season from going through this misery yet again. But I don't know, man. I hope this team can turn it around, despite the fact that I sometimes I feel like throwing a brick through the window over there on airlines. But even though I get mad, even though I am disgusted, even though I am emotionally checked out at times with this team, like everybody else in the Who Dat Nation, I'm still going to be screaming to top of my lungs, Who Dat?